Hi there, this is Elias Collier on the campus of Huntington University. You're listening to Rooted, an in-depth conversation with interesting people and topics that matter to the Forrester family. Make sure you subscribe to Rooted on iTunes, Google Play, or Spotify. You can find us by searching Forrester Radio Rooted. Today I'm joined by Isiah Huber. Isiah, thank you for joining me.
You're welcome. Do I get my check now or after?
This is a volunteer effort. I'm sorry.
I was told I was going to be paid for this.
We don't have that in the budget. I'm not even getting paid for this, so I'm sorry.
I have to leave. Sorry.
All right. So, Isiah, first question. What is your academic year and major and minors, if applicable?
They are applicable, fortunately. I am a senior journalism, comm studies, and history major with a minor in political science and a concentration in honors.
So, kind of a icebreaker, even though we've been roommates before. What is your favorite beverage besides water?
Besides water?
Besides water.
Oh, man. Favorite beverage? Ooh, that's a really difficult one, you know? Something with caffeine in it, probably.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of like some sweet tea. Coffee's a strong one for me.
Yeah. But you can only choose one though.
I've recently become kind of dependent upon Red Bull. You know what? I'm gonna go with coffee.
Coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you decide to come to HU?
You want the long version or the short version?
Let's go with the medium version.
The medium version. Okay. So I was a part of Youth for Christ in my high school. And they do a spring break trip every year down to Florida. It was my senior year, and I really, really wanted to go. So I managed to raise the money, and I went. And I was kind of like in between Huntington University and Ball State because I had a really good journalism program at Ball State, but HU was Christian college, and I had the ability to triple major there and everything, and I was like, and then it was kind of like the church camp routine of Bible studies and stuff throughout the week, and then the final night you have that really powerful, impactful sermon. And
the gut punch, you know?
Yeah. And for that one, we just sat out on the beach looking at the ocean, and we sat in complete silence. And during that time, I would just ask God, like, is this the path you want me to go down? Like, if you want me to... I wanted to be a light of change in the journalism industry. I was asking God if, like, he wanted me to go to HU and go down that path. And I was trying to think of a sign in my head of what that would look like, what God could do. Like, you know, telling God, do this for me, and I'll know.
Yeah.
But he was like, this is the sign, and then he did it. And, you know, my eyes are closed. I'm just trying to talk with God, and then absolute complete silence. And I opened my eyes, and the waves stopped crashing. The ocean was calm for a few moments, and I was like, "Whoa, that's not normal." And then the waves came back, and the sounds rushed back to my ears. I'm like, "Oh wow, that was real." And the rest is history. Here I am.
Amazing. Wow. What leadership position do you currently hold?
I am the student body president this year of Student Government Association, and yeah.
How long have you had this position?
That's a tricky question. I was elected last year. Officially wasn't in the role until this year, but I had a lot of work and stuff to do
Over the summer?
Over the summer and toward the end of the semester last year. But yeah, officially
When
this semester, when the school year started.
got it. And what is involved with your position? What all do you do? It's a simplified version. Because there's a lot.
What do I do? Well, I lead SGA. So SGA has weekly meetings, and I lead those, and I just ensure that it's a smooth machine. I also lead our executive board meetings that we have, just making sure that my team is doing well. I sit in I have a lot of meetings. I have regular meetings with Ron Coffey, the VP of Student Life, and with our campus pastor, Mark, with Kirsch, and I have a little less regular meetings with Dr. Emberton, but still try to keep those at a semi-regular basis. All of that, and leading SGA and representing the student body, and making sure that's going well. And SGA does events and stuff too, so I make sure those are going good. And I'm also a member of the board of trustees.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So just a little bit on that role.
Just a little bit.
Smidgen.
You probably may not have talked about this yet, but what is your favorite aspect of your position?
Ooh, what's my favorite aspect? It's a really difficult one.
What brings you joy?
What brings me joy? Leadership is really fun. I really love being able to lead meetings and just people and just... I would say leadership because it's more than just leading meetings, but it's also being checking in on your sheep, as so to speak, because
call it a sheep.
Well, no. No, don't quote me out of context. No, I will ruin you. This will never be on air.
You're shepherding us to greater good.
Mm-hmm. I'm shepherd. Part of that's checking in on everyone as well, checking in on SGA members, checking in on the students as a whole and individually, making sure everyone's doing okay, and addressing things that some students don't have the courage to address with administration and with faculty and that kind of thing too. So in a very broad sense, leadership is my favorite part of the role.
Really caring for others.
Yeah, caring for others.
Wow. Caring for your flock.
Yes.
Speaking of flock, how has your faith inspired your leadership style?
How is my faith heavily. I only look at faith-based leadership stuff. And that's kind of like the model that I look at because as Christians, we're called to model Jesus' life. We're called to walk in his footsteps. And Jesus was a servant leader. Jesus, he got down and he washed the feet of his disciples. He died on a cross for all of us. He led all of us through that. And it's and that's why I use the taking care of you, like shepherding your sheep, That's why I use that analogy because there's a book that talks about it that uses that analogy, and that's what Jesus did, and that's the common metaphor. So, a lot. All of it. That's an answer. All of the above.
All of the above. So, what challenges have you faced as a student leader, and how did you overcome them? And there's a lot. You could probably just like in general, and obviously make it as like indiscreet as you can because you deal with a lot of confidential information. So
challenges for that is, leadership can be a lonely position, and especially with being a board member. I get a lot of confidential information that I can't share. I've built these support systems over these past 3 years. And when you're a board member, you just get info dump, a lot of stuff that you can't share. And it's been difficult. I had my breaking point actually not too long ago. Just with the weight of everything, and come to realize, shout out to my wonderful girlfriend, help me get it through my thick skull that it's not, I'm not doing it alone, that the burdens and stuff that I carry aren't for me to carry. They're the Lord's right there with me for me to be able to put those burdens and those worries and those anxieties on Him. And you know, He's there for me. He's there for me to talk to and work through stuff and guide me, and just shoulder all that burden and unfun stuff as well. That's probably, I would say that's probably the biggest struggle that I've had, and that's how I'm continually overcoming it. Because I'm not out of the role yet, so I don't get to.
I mean, it's only halfway through the first semester.
Yeah.
Who is an individual who inspired or impacted you in some way throughout your entire life?
Can I do the cop-out answer and say Jesus?
I mean, you already been saying that. It's not the cop-out answer, but like you've already answered that. You already used Jesus as your answer for several of these.
Okay.
I mean, Jesus
fine.
is always the answer. But somebody besides Jesus.
Okay. Ashley Spirik. She was president my sophomore year. And kind of voluntold me to join SGA. And I came in like second semester, the beginning of the second semester, so like SGA is normally a year-long commitment, so I was like right smack dab in the middle of everything. But she really inspired me to love the students and just do whatever you can for them and rep them to the administration and fight the battles and that they sometimes are afraid of fighting because she really was a really big blessing in my life and a really big mentor for me, I would say.
That's awesome. What are some goals that you have for do you like just in the near future, not like as your role as president, like small, like what are some small goals that
what are some small goals that I have in the future?
Some positivity.
Man, that's a good one. You don't want to just have a carbon cut and paste thing that I always say when people ask me what's my role. I put out a survey. It's on Coffee Break, and for students to kind of talk about if they feel heard or not, and some ways that they feel that they wish things were handled better, just some things that they wish they think could be done to be more heard, and also some ways that they think that stuff has been done well. And just that survey is for me to, I'm going to sift through all the responses I get, and they're all open-ended, so it'll
take some time.
It's going to take me some time, but, depending on how many people take it. So please take my survey. Give me more work. I'm begging you. And the goal of that survey is, what can I do in my role to make recommendations to the administration? And I've seen stuff that SGA can just do by itself as well. I've seen some stuff in there that was like, I wish SGA would do this, and I'm like, absolutely, I think I agree with you. I think we should do that. So that's something that I think that's a smaller goal for me for this year, because we'll get those responses, and then I'll kind of like compile them and go to the administration and for the stuff that they is kind of their realm, and then go to my EB and our general members for stuff that we can do, and anything else that's a part of those responses that kind of falls in the cracks of those answers.
Thank you, Isiah, so much for joining me on this episode of Rooted.
You're very much welcome. Now, I'm very serious about that paycheck.
Isiah, we've talked about this.
Listen, I will not leave here until I get my money.
Well, that's all we have today, folks. And thank you for listening. Make sure you subscribe to Rooted on iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify. And remember, you can listen to Forester Radio over the air in Huntington on 105.5 WQHU or stream us anytime, anywhere on foresterradio.com. Stay rooted.